Today, we're jumping into a fantastic story of suspense out on the open sea. It's all about a nervous passenger, a very mysterious box, and a secret that seems to put every single person on board in terrible danger. But before we get into it, let me ask you something. Put yourself in that position for a second. You overhear something that sounds, well, dangerous. What do you do? Do you jump in? Do you run and tell someone, or do you just stay hidden and watch? Think about it, because that's the exact position our narrator finds himself in. All right, so our story begins on a journey, like so many great mysteries do. Let's set the scene and meet the people at the center of this whole drama. We are on board the ship Spartan. Now, our narrator, he's a guy who really likes his peace and quiet. He finds what he thinks is the perfect spot on deck, kind of tucked away behind this huge pile of luggage. He's just trying to get away from the crowds, But he's about to find himself right in the middle of a mystery. So, from his little hiding spot, he starts listening to two other passengers. One is tall and thin, his name's Muller. The other guy, a bit shorter with this efficient, brisk air about him, is named Flannigan. They're talking in these hushed, serious voices, and they've brought something very odd with them. And there it is, the very object of all our suspicion. A small, square box made of dark wood. But look at the details here. It has a trigger on the lid, just like you'd see on a pistol case, and there's a coil of string attached to it. Right away, this thing just looks wrong. So now the scene is set, and our narrator, well, he's basically become a spy without even meaning to, and every little thing he sees and hears just seems to confirm his worst fears. The very first clue, the fact that these guys are so paranoid. One of them whispers, "Is no one looking?" before they do anything else. They're glancing all around, super nervous. They clearly need this whole operation to be a complete secret. Luckily for our narrator, they were so engrossed in what they were doing that they completely missed him hiding just a few feet away. And that's the key word here, engrossed. Their intense focus on that box just adds to the narrator's anxiety. It fits perfectly into the sinister picture he's starting to paint in his mind. Then he sees this. Flannigan takes out a little paper packet and very carefully pours a handful of these whitish grains into a small hole in the box. Now, to our terrified narrator, this can only mean one thing. Yep, he's absolutely convinced he just watched them arm a bomb. Those grains, in his mind, are without a doubt the fuse for some horrible explosive device. And you can see how his mind is working, right? Once he's got the idea of a plot in his head, every single thing they do just confirms it. And that's it. His conclusion is locked in. These aren't just any criminals. No, these are desperate agents on some kind of mission to destroy the Spartan and everyone on board along with it. The stakes, in his mind, have just become life and death. The plan seems to be in motion. The device is armed. And now, all anyone can do is wait. For our narrator, these next few moments are absolute agony. The tension just keeps ratcheting up. The men confirm the time, 10 o'clock on the dot, and then the countdown begins. 3 minutes more, then a minute and a half more. You can just imagine the narrator, hearing his own heart pounding in his ears. The tension is just too much to handle, and finally, something inside him just snaps. He literally cannot take it for one more second. He leaps out from behind the luggage and just screams, "Stop!" at them. He's desperate, trying to prevent the catastrophe that he is so sure is about to happen. So this is it, the moment of truth. He's intervened, he's shown himself, but what exactly is he stopping? What is actually inside that little square box? The narrator is bracing himself for the absolute worst. He's picturing a terrible explosion, the ship breaking apart, the loss of every single person on board. Is this how it ends? No. In all the chaos, Muller yanks the trigger. The lid of the box springs open, and out fly 2 gray carrier pigeons. Not a bomb, not an explosion. Pigeons. So, what on earth was actually going on? Let's untangle this huge misunderstanding and find out the truth behind this so-called terror plot. A few days later, an article in the New York Herald newspaper explains everything. It wasn't a conspiracy at all. It was an extraordinary pigeon-flying match between our two guys, Flannigan and Muller. That 10 o'clock start time, that was for the race.
And suddenly, every sinister clue has a perfectly harmless explanation. That fatal box was just a special pigeon trap. The fuse? That was just bird feed. The trigger was just a spring to pop the lid open. And that sensation they were talking about? It wasn't an explosion, it was the media buzz and excitement for their big race.
So why all this secrecy? Well, it was actually pretty simple. The ship's captain just really didn't like sporting events on his ship. They had to keep the whole thing quiet so they wouldn't get in trouble. Their paranoia wasn't the paranoia of bombers, but of a couple of hobbyists trying to keep their pigeons from getting taken away. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. This story is just a brilliant example of how our minds can build these incredible narratives, how anxiety and secrecy and a little bit of imagination can turn a simple pigeon race into a terrifying plot. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What fatal boxes have we all built up in our own minds?